Welcome, Daniel Nation, to our monthly podcast, the Daniel Report. And this week we're doing part 4 of the series for the chairman interviews for the Republican Party of the state of Texas. And we have our convention coming up next week. We have thousands of delegates coming in from all across the state of Texas to determine what our party platform and priorities are going to be for the next legislative session. And so our next guest is going to be Dr. Brooks McKenzie, who is running for the state chair and the vice chair. Welcome to the Daniel Report, Dr. McKenzie.
Well, thank you for having me.
Glad to have you with us tonight. So just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and why are you running for state chair and vice chair?
So I am running for state chair and vice chair because our party is broken. It's broken beyond belief. And this is the only party that says, well, my dog just came in. This is the only party that says they believe in God. And so this is the party I must attach myself to. My history is everything I've ever done in my professional career is about children, families, abuse, neglect. When we harm children, we destroy our future because we know it's lifelong. And so that's been my entire professional career. And I started training CPS directors. We developed an intervention that's recognized statewide and nationally. So I was working behind the scenes with the CPSs and the DFPS, all those things, because I'm the expert in that area. I'm the state's expert in that area. And what I saw was massive grift, corruption, you name it, you name it. Social services is one of the greatest ways to get rich if you can start an organization and know a politician. It is ridiculous the amount of money that we dump into systems that do not work. We know they won't work, but they keep everyone employed. So I've always done this. But in 2020, I believe, I was in a judge's courtroom and they violated the Constitution. And I said, you can't do that. But what you're doing is black and white illegal. And they said to me, what are you going to do about it? No one's going to do anything. They laughed in my face and said, no one's going to do anything. What are you going to do about it? So here I am. I've executed a plan over the past few years to where this is the cherry on top. I'm running for state chair and vice chair because I hope to be announcing active investigations into 2 separate counties in Texas upon sitting judges, sheriffs, and district attorneys for what they've done in official capacity in violating their oaths of office. That's what my intent is. And I've got some senators who've agreed to work with me. And if I can get that announcement out this week, I'm going to ask Ken Paxton at convention to initiate those 2 investigations. Because the moment that happens, we will be investigating everybody who's violated their oath of office. And it will be the biggest political bloodbath you've ever seen in the history of this nation. And that is why I'm running for state chair and vice chair. I've been setting this up for about 4 years. This is my coming out party. Here I am.
Awesome, Dr. McKenzie. Well, welcome to the race. We're excited to have you as one of our candidates that we'll be voting on next week. So tell us, if elected the chair of the party or the vice chair, what would be your top priority as chair for the first 100 days?
The top priority for the first 100 days? God, there's about 20 of those. Cleaning house and getting a staff that you can trust and that will support the change that needs to be taken. Getting advisory committees, past chairs, people to come in and bring their experience. Because, when Ministeri ran it, there was amazing stuff happening. So we can tap into that stuff. But within the first 100 days, the thing that I probably want to do first, other than screaming about closing the primaries, which that's a whole okie doke in itself, I want to launch a program that networks the entire state. We have technology. 14-year-old kids play video games with kids over in China and talk to them live constantly, send documents. But our RPT, you can't email. Go to the RPT website and click on someone and click to email them. There's no submit button. There's no documents. There's no nothing. And so what I'd like to do, because everything I ever do stacks on. I don't do a single thing. I do something that does like 5 or 6 things and you just layer on top. And so we're going to launch an initiative to train up the youth. Very simple, very easy, 14 to 25-year-olds. But we're going to use Discord. And if you don't know what Discord is, it's what every gaming kid in this world uses when they're playing video games. You can communicate, you can set up chat rooms, you can have documents, you can show videos. And so we're going to use that as the platform for the entire training for the entire state. 254 counties will have an individual Discord site. And every single one of those counties will be identical, absolutely identical. All the documents will be in the same place. And that's the other thing. Every single document that we have that's public information is going to be sitting there. So the precinct chairs can get it. If you're a newly elected county chair, you click on the tab that says county chairs that only county chairs can access. And there's literally your checklist of everything you need to do to get up and running. And, and that's it. We don't supply any support. I know I've spoken to 7 or 8 county chairs in the past week, just the past week. 2 of them are new. They're incoming. None of them, not a single one of them, they actually asked me, and I don't know anything because I'm an irrelevant, redneck. But they, it's like, where do I find I don't know what to do. Like they're in the position and have no clue. So they're calling other county chairs, and some of them were never trained. And you see the issue. We literally, for less than $5,000 in the first year, we can put up 254 Discord sites that are identical. So if you log on in Tarrant or Red River or wherever you're at, you know exactly how to navigate it. You know where the documents are. And your precinct chairs will never have to ask you for anything because they will be on there getting all the documents they have access to. And I'm crazy, but next convention, that delegate list is going to be slapped up there because it's public information and we shouldn't be charging anybody any money because I don't believe the rules even allow us to do that. So exposure, everything, because as you know, when things are in the sunlight, they can't fester and grow. We've been letting them fester and grow. Every SREC meeting needs to be broadcast and indexed and put on that Discord site, right? You missed the meeting, you can go hit the SREC button. Everything's in one place, but then you have the breakout groups. But what this really does is it brings in those younger ones who are already using it. They don't have to use it. And this is where they're going to run their own youth group like the RPT. They're going to elect their own president, their own chair, vice chair, the whole thing. They're going to learn the system by doing it themselves. And then as they grow and they get 18, 20, 22 and decide to go into a precinct chair spot, they'll know Robert's rules. They'll know points of order. They will know how it works because they ran it themselves as youngsters, because it's going to be constitutional and biblical citizenship. And we've got lots of great partners out there like CDF and other places. I'm not saying them specifically, but they've got a great biblical citizenship program. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need the mechanism to get people there. And within the first year, we will have hundreds of young people in precinct chair spots. And with 2 to 4 years, we will own almost every precinct, every convention, everything, because we are literally training young men mostly and young women up in the Word of God and how to work the party so the party doesn't work them. We will own it if we do this. They cannot take it back because this will be the grassroots. That's one of the first things I wanted to start, but I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday at an event, and he wants to do something with the Latino, right? We got a massive boost in the Latino vote because they poll number 3 on family. But we didn't hit that. We just thank you for coming. We've done nothing to keep them. They're gone. They're not voting, right? They showed up to vote for Trump. We don't have a Trump election coming up. And we've done zero to engage them. We've done zero to engage anybody except for 50 plus primary voters. And it's less than $5,000. And I can get a 21-year-old to do it in less than a week and set the entire system up. That's what I want to do. I want to grow this party and grow it with young people, get them active. Because when I get those young men, the conservative YRs out there that don't have, when I show them what they can do, these men will go after corruption the same way I do. I will give them the tools and the weapons online to do that. And I will literally drive to every county if I have to. I have what I call a magic bus tour. And it used to be delivering criminal affidavits all across this state. I've set up a lot of counties to be investigated. It's about to be glorious. But I will go to every single county, teach you how to write a proper Rule 44, because I'm the one that testified Wednesday night to keep Rule 44 from dying at last convention. I will show you how to write a Rule 44. I'll show your precinct chairs how to do a Chapter 87 civil removal of any county official and below. So your DAs, your sheriffs, your commissioners, your school boards, you can remove every single one of them from office if you live in the county for 6 months. And then I'm going to show you the entire spectrum of what you can do to corruption, and then I'm going to move to the next county and do it. I'm going to train up warriors for God across the state within the RPT, or they're going to have to take God out of it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your vision with us. Appreciate that. So let's talk about the party. I mean, our party has got a lot of factions, grassroots, establishment. We got the elected officials, and it seems like it's a tug of war on every side. How do you handle all this conflict between so many factions in under our tent?
So most people have no idea who I am. There's a lot of people who do, but most don't really know. I've been campaigning since 2022. I just haven't been running for office. I have a very specific one. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to launch it at convention. So I've been working for years on my issue, and I've been all over the state, everywhere. It doesn't matter. I've campaigned more than most statewide. Actually, I have campaigned more than any statewide official. That's just a fact. But I did it because I know if I get this thing done, it will change the entire party. It'll change everything in the party. How to explain this? So this is perfect. So JBS and Convention of States, what happens at our conventions when they get in the same room? They basically have a brawl almost, right? We got to call security, people are running, but I know the leaders of both of those groups. We go out and have lunch. That's the thing. I've met everybody, every faction. I've got friends in the establishment who wouldn't admit it to their friends because they wouldn't have friends. But there serves no purpose for me to scoriate you or push you away if you're still, what's the word I'm looking for? Teachable or whatever. If there is still a possibility we can work together. I worked with a lot of politicians this last session to get our bills passed. And some of them in the past have done horrible, horrible things to my bills. Horrible things to my bills. And they're not fans of anything I'm doing. But when they offered to carry that bill because for them it was good and for me it was good, let's knock it out. I'm not going to, there's no point in burning a bridge if you can win someone over. Because eventually if you can win all their friends, peer pressure will push them over your bridge. But going out and screaming and doing all this stuff uselessly, sometimes it's useful, but just doing it because we can. We've got in this age of, if you don't agree with me on one issue, you're no. Because a lot of people, and this is funny, I will get, I'm not a theologian at all, never claimed to be, but I'm a kind of a bright guy. And I will get lectured every time I speak somewhere by a sweet little old lady or a young man or whatever on biblical stuff and what I say on stage and how I'm supposed to love my neighbor. But all that shows is that no one has ever taught them that Jesus Christ came to flip tables and to divide. And so if you can teach them that and show them, and it doesn't matter what the context or topic is, people get stuck in their beliefs. Again, like with the JBS and the Convention of States people, their leaders hang out together, but their people want to kill each other. And that's just a messaging issue. And that's the problem that the RPT has. We suck at messaging. We've always sucked at messaging. And the only time we do messaging is when someone pays us to do it for them for a political favor. But we can change this entire thing. Those groups that have issues, tell me what your issue is. I'm a fixer. For years, I broker information. That's what I'm the guy in the picture that is always circled in the background and nobody knows who he is or how his scummy self got invited and why he's in that's what I've done for years. I know someone in every single faction, and I promise you, that's what I do is I fix things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. So you mentioned messaging, that we're doing a poor job at that as a party. What is the core message that the Texas GOP should be communicating right now?
It's simple. Biblical principles. We claim to be the party of God. And it sounds simplified, but I assume you know exactly what I'm saying. If I follow God and I am honest and open and I follow our Constitution, which is the next guiding thing, because God will always, but that our Constitution's based off of Him. If I do those two things, I can't go wrong. Our party doesn't talk about the Constitution. The messaging that we have is a top-down media wing. That's what we do. We don't message, we relay ads for whoever pays us. We're not out there messaging anything. We're not calling anyone out unless stick to God, stick to the basics, keep it simple. We claim we're the party of God. It's all within our preamble, our core values. It's all over the place. But the only time you hear the little verses about God when it's Mother's Day or something. No, no, no. I'm going to make convention the longest sermon that's ever happened in Houston, Texas. I'm literally going to preach God, the Constitution, and our values because most of the people in the RPT believe those things, but nobody says it out loud. I'm going to say it out loud and be the tip of the spear and see if we can't get a revival going over about 5 days in Houston. Our messaging needs to be about our Lord Jesus Christ and how our Constitution was only possible because of him, and that this nation was created to honor him, and that we're the party to do that. You go with that messaging, and within 2 cycles, we will own this state. You want to wash it down and muddy it and be the hypocrites that we are? That's why nobody turns out. That's why Tarrant lost SD9. That was the reason. It was jamming candidates down the throat, and the messaging was, hey, look at us, vote for us because we have an R. But nobody ever talks about the corruption that's 3 feet away because that's their golfing buddy. And so no one believes you. Our messaging is about God, but it's a little g God. It's a fake God. It's a God that we don't follow. And so that's all my messaging is, because if I can get you back to God, everything else will fall in place.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. So let's talk about fundraising. What would be your plan to grow small dollar fundraising? I know we're good with the major donors, but these small micro donations, we're not so good at that. How would you increase those small donations?
Remember the plan I just told you about those youth? Every one of those kids subscribes to Netflix, Xbox, Place, whatever it is. They subscribe in left and right. If I can make being a precinct chair valuable, as in your precinct chair is an extremely powerful position, but I'd say less than 10% of precinct chairs actually even have a clue of what they can do. So when you empower them, bring in those youth, and you have people that actually see when I show up and I bring resolutions because I know how, and now, and it's not just something I show up to vote for. I come and partake. You'll give me $5 a month. And once you start giving me $5 a month, I'm not going to need the big donations for convention because I'll have convention covered. And that's it. That's why we're growing the bottom up. If we can get $5-10 a month and you can skip a cup of coffee once a week, we'll make an incredible amount of money because we're going to pack those. We're going to fill out the chairs. Those 50 and 60% empty counties where nothing's ever happened, that's another thing. There's going to be metrics on how many chairs you filled and why you haven't. If you're a county chair and you're not able to fill your chairs, I'll come help you. I will come out and door knock in your empty precincts. It's simple stuff. It's not hard. If you need a fire, you get some wood, some gasoline, and a Molotov cocktail. There you go. And what we've been doing is it's like boots on the ground. That's all it is. Everything that we need is simple boots on the ground. And a lot of this stuff you can get, our website is horrific. I've got a 21-year-old, I can pay $1,000 to maintain it for the entire year and create something that looks like, as functional as Amazon. And so everything in our party is literally, it's not important. The only things that seem to be important is getting those primary voters, which are 50 and older, because once you win the primary, you win, and then appeasing whoever needs to be appeased. When we rise that grassroots and we empower them, I won't be able to do that if I was chair, because they will have the power. They will know how to remove their chair, how to remove their county chair, right? They will have the ability to take me out if I go sideways. That's the point, is to build a machine that no one at the top can ever run without completely decimating thousands and thousands of precinct chairs. And that's what we're doing. We're building that army. It's not a phrase. It is literally what I'm doing.
Yeah. So what role should the state party play in contested primaries, if any?
Well, we've seen so much garbage lately. um, the role of the party is to be the party. It's to make sure its rules are followed, its members follow its rules, and it represents its membership. Um, it depends on why it's contested. But that opens up a whole nother box of stuff. This past session. So I'll give you an example of just how odd it is currently for me. So this past primary, I collected signatures for two candidates to challenge Chief Justice Blacklock on the Supreme Court and Justice Busby on the Supreme Court. I went to, I think, 4 or 5 different judicial districts to collect their signatures. We were good. We turned it in. It was brutal. But these two men who were going to challenge two justices that I remind everyone sent a boy named James Younger to California to be chemically castrated, which he currently is. So in my book, I needed to replace them. So boots on the ground, remember? So we got the signatures. Everything's fine. They were accepted. Right after about the time too late to correct anything, they were notified that Abraham George was keeping both of those candidates off the ballot of his own volition. No input from the Secretary of State or anyone else. So Abraham used his position to keep them off the ballot to prevent a primary. And we see this all over the state. It happened there. I'm in SD1 currently today, and there's a man who killed himself because he was running for office. He was told, and we've got the receipts of that your stuff is good, you're good to go. But soon as it became too late to correct anything, oh, whoops, we found something. It happened all over the state. So when you ask me whether the party should get involved in anything like that, what I know of what the party's done just this past cycle, I don't think the party should be getting involved in anything except for cleaning its house, putting cameras in every corner, lighting up every single room, and letting people inspect us before we venture out into the streets again. Because we've basically been raping our own precinct chairs, our conservatives who go up against incumbents have gotten no support. All those letters that were supposed to come out against censured candidates, RPT didn't pay for those. I believe an outside group paid for those. So the RPT didn't even follow up with text, emails, or anything for censured candidates. So to trust them to intervene and do anything currently, absolutely not. But in the future, it will be our duty, but it needs to be like everything else, guardrails. We are not the dictators of anything. We are here to protect Sally, who's in precinct whatever and runs that. That's who we're here to protect. We're not here to protect our machine. If we protect our people, our machine will never go away. And we've got it backwards.
Yeah. So I noticed, noticed on your website, you're a big proponent of Rule 44, and of course you mentioned that you testified on Wednesday night at the convention 2 years ago. So what do you believe the party should play as a role in holding elected Republican officials accountable to our platform?
Well, it's very simple. If I'm a CEO of Nike and you want to use my brand, you have to pay me, right? You don't get a free ride anywhere except for in politics, apparently. So there are two parties. If you want to go to the other party, knock it out of the park. We'll see you later. If you want to go, and for years they talked about conservatives and grassroots, we need to create our own party. No, we don't. We have it. It's in place. God's in there. We need to clean up our party. And so if they want to go create another party, that's fine. But we have to focus on the thing that we've been ignoring forever. We haven't been focusing. We haven't been focusing on the Constitution of God for a very long time. Let's just be obvious about that. But we are playing. It's kabuki theater. And when we go to censure these reps, I will be the first to admit a lot of those censures were very poorly written, and a lot of people were trying to censure for stuff that's not censurable just because they didn't like someone. And that's where that community, again, Discord sites I'm speaking about, you will have step-by-step instructions on how to do that. But we absolutely have the right to censure them, send them a nasty letter, throw them out of the party. I'm all for that, because the moment you throw 2 or 3 out this next cycle, because If I get in, I promise you it's going to be way more than 2 or 3. There's no qualms about that. I'll be in charge of that. So when that happens, what happens next cycle? You'll have a whole bunch of people resign or retire. If they have the time, they'll retire and go back to doing their life. You'll see a massive shift, and there'll be all these openings, and it'll be incredible. It's akin to what I'm going to do, the judiciary. When I get the first indictment on the judge for what they did, violating their oath of office, I can indict anybody, any judge, anywhere. There are going to be so many retirements. People are going to drop out. It's going to be nuts, because once they learn you can whack them on the nose with the stick, they don't want to stick their nose back out anymore. And so I absolutely believe without a way to bring not punishment, but accountability, right? Because the Bible tells us, if I harm you, I'm to come to you and tell you what I did and ask you how to fix it. You ever heard a state rep do that once in their life, yet they all claim to believe in God? So I have no qualms about holding them up. If you don't have these standards, you will not be a Republican. You might still be an incumbent, but you will be an independent. Have a great day. And once you do that, that takes their money out of the game, because an independent's really hard. And you see each of those things crumbles a thing right next to it that they all rely on. Everything is systemic. I work in dynamic systems. So each of these things will punch another hole in that thing. But yeah, you take out some, for instance, if Jared Patterson had level 3 censure, he would not have won. And everyone in this state who runs around in that group and thinks that way, they would have had a very bad night. They would have had they would have realized it's like getting punched in the nose when you're the bully. You realize that someone might actually hit you back, and that's what we need.
Yeah. So, how do we encourage the next generation of candidates to run? It's so grimacing, if you will, to try to raise the money that you have to raise to run for state legislature, and these incumbents are so entrenched, and you get really no money from the party as a challenger. You get very little support from the party as a challenger. I don't think the party does much of anything to help the challenger. So, if we're not helping the challengers defeat these entrenched incumbents, then how are we even going to recruit future generations of candidates who want to even run under our ticket?
Well, we're not. We are currently a media arm for incumbents. We are a step away from being top down. That's what this entire convention is about. This entire convention, the massive mailings for the precinct chair races, the text messages to fill up the empty precinct chair races, the amount of money that cost. Do you imagine how many incumbent less than desirables we could have flipped if that money had been put into that instead of that? We'd have flipped seats all over this state. It would have been a bloodbath. But somebody is trying to do something different, and it's very odd. But this convention is about taking over the SREC. So there's 2 things that my opponents, and I'm not talking about my state chair opponents, because those aren't my opponents. It's to kill Rule 44, and if you cannot do that, to take over enough of the SREC so that you can kill every censure that ever comes through, or neuter it. So, either way, that's part of the plan for their plan. But back to the training thing. When we start, because I've talked to some of the other candidates, and this isn't my plan. This plan I'm talking about was come up with Gracie, my campaign manager. I'm just the one that filled it out because that's what I do. And so she brought it to me, and I filled it out, and it's ready to go. If I win, it's going. If there's another candidate I've spoken to, if they win, it's going. That solves your money problems. It solves your youth problems. It packs your precinct chairs. Within a year, you'll probably have a few hundred, and within 2 years you'll have thousands, because the program will have taken off by then, because we're going to have youth ambassadors. Think that, kind of like the TPO USA model. We are going to outbreed them. We're going to do to, I'll just say it, the establishment, what the Muslims, the Pakis, the Indians are doing to our Texas cities. We are going to outbreed them and take over by sheer force of numbers, but we're going to train them from the ground up so they will never stray. Because what does God say about how you train up a child? Literally, I want to run the RPT as a church almost. Not that you're going to worship, but after the youth group, guess what? There comes your women's group. We will have an RPT women's group that has the same biblical principles, the same discipline, the same everything that the youth group does. And guess what? I'm going to get nutty and do a men's group. We're going to do it just like that. Men teaching men, women teaching women, women overseeing, that kind of thing. But all of our training eventually will be taken over by that men's group who will disseminate it. That takes, and I'll say it out loud, that takes TRCCA right out of the mix, doesn't it? They'll be out of business within 2 years. Our women's group will take TFRW out of the mix too, won't it? They'll be gone. You see where I'm going with this? I'm setting off a chain of events. This is what I did to get these potential convictions on judges. If I get these indictments on these judges, DAs, and sheriffs within the next 2 months, it'll be the first time in the history of Texas it's ever happened, and I've worked on it for 4 years. If I can do that, I can run a party.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts. So in this last segment of our interview, we're going to ask them some job questions here for the job. So what experience do you bring in managing large organizations, budgets, and teams?
Part of my past work history is I'm the former assistant director of research at the Texas Christian University Institute of Child Development. While there, we've trained, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of practitioners across the nation, but we've done it specifically in Texas. I've trained hundreds of judges, senators, you name it, everyone under the sun, way before I got into politics. But I ran the research and training branch of that institute. The research and training branch of that institute is the only thing that kept it alive. And after I took over, we got a $35 million endowment from the Reese Jones Foundation, and they built us a huge building right in the middle of the TCU campus, which is kind of a big thing. So I'm pretty sure I'm able to outperform what we've seen. But that's what I do. Everything I do is systemic. I don't want to, and this will sound odd, I don't want to run anything. I want to show up, have you tell me what the problems are, make sure we all believe in the same God, and I will show you how to fix your problems. Then I'll show you how to work the machine I created. And once you're good, I leave. I don't want to be there. I don't want to run it. I don't want to stay. If you need help, I will come back and we'll help tune it or whatever, or figure out the next problem. I am not designed to be in one place for a long time. 2 years isn't a long time. My goal is to get it up, get it running, and hand it off to someone who that is their gift. My gift is not that. My gift is, it's very different. Just like my gift isn't being rich. That's why God doesn't allow me wealth, because I wouldn't be doing his work. But some people are gifted that when you give them wealth, they know what to do with it. You give me wealth, I buy nice stuff, and then anyway. But I set things up and I tear them down. If you have something you want taken apart, I will take it apart for you in a matter of months. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can get me in the system and introduce me to the people, I'll take it from there. And I build things and leave them. And that's what I want to do. I want to build something and leave it. And again, I'm running for chair and vice chair. So if we have a Susan Witten or a Dorinda, I'm going to run against Covey. And I have nothing against David Covey. I think he's great. I know the Covey family I've known their wives and kids for longer than them, but him and his brother, they're great. But I'm going to do something that I do not believe anybody else will or can do. And it's not because I'm full of pride and hubris. It's because I see what God's put in front of me and I know absolutely what I'm supposed to do. And whether I'm chair, vice chair, or nothing, I'm still going to do what I've done. I've been boots on the ground for years. Just nobody's needed to know my name because I didn't want you to. Now I need you to know my name, and here I am.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So you mentioned improving our website. You mentioned building the Discord app for the next generation, as well as the existing people in the party to use. How else will you improve the party's data, the party's infrastructure, the other components of our party, our ground game, outreach efforts? How are you going to improve all of our infrastructure?
All right. So when you say data, so my PhD is in developmental and experimental psychology. So I'm a researcher. I'm a published peer-reviewed empirical researcher. You can go pull my articles. Most people wouldn't understand what I wrote, but I could explain it to you. Before I went into that field, I wanted to be a quantitative methodologist. So I wanted to go into statistics. I have like a weird perverted passion for stats. I will sit in front of a spreadsheet running SysStat, SPSS, or even R models for hours, because to me, it's like playing a video game. And our data is non-existent. What we have is like the bare minimum to send out mailers. It is so easy to collect data and not have to have waivers signed because it's just public data. Good Lord, we could target areas with youth groups on the ground. I'll show up. That's the thing. We don't even know where to target because we're not collecting data. So there's no data being collected other than what they find useful for getting funding. That's it. It's kind of like every other state agency we have. If you don't make them do it, they don't want to do it because it shows whatever. Um, the entire thing needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. That's just it. It's kind of like CPS. There is no fixing our child protective services. There's not. It will have to be completely destroyed, a new program implemented and rolled out across the state as you close down CPS across the state. Well, in the RPT, what we have now is so cancerous and gangrenous. Our SREC members, I mean, hell, some of them I think probably have to take Prozac just to show up to some of the meetings because of the way they go. And again, you change that, you change the culture, you bring God into stuff, it works. And that's, I mean, it sounds silly, but that's how I live my life. If I know I'm supposed to show up somewhere, I may not know why or who I'm supposed to, or I'll think it's somebody else and I'll go to see that person and it wasn't. It was some lady I met in the back row, but I know exactly that's the one. And that's how you approach it. You find what works and you make it work. And we have models everywhere. Good Lord. Scientific models everywhere that show you exactly what works. And nothing's ever been implemented. It's not like we're starting from a blank page. We don't even have a page. It's just somebody went by and stuck a sticky note up there, you know, hey, remember to call for money. And we don't have anything and it has to be built. And I think there's a great opportunity. And I think a couple other candidates has had some really good ideas. I've been on stage with them and they've come up with some very good ideas. I have nobody in this race that I'm an enemy with. I like the Cubbies. I like Dorinda. I don't really know Susan. I've known Troy Jackson for years. I've known Abraham since he was the county chair in Collin County. Abraham's not my enemy. His actions and what he's done are the things I cannot abide. And so I'll work with anybody, but I know there's some other people that have some fantastic ideas. And as soon as whoever's chair, I'm going to help them or they're going to help me, or hell, it may turn out that we're actually running together by some weird twist of fate because it's about to get weird.
Yeah. So specifically, why would you be the best choice of all the candidates to be the chairman of the party?
Well, that's a not humble answer, is it? Because I do what I say and I say what I do, and my yes is yes and my no is no. And you can go back on every social media platform. I've been putting up videos for years explaining exactly where I would be right now. So 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, there are videos of me explaining exactly what I was going to do to the judiciary, how I was going to do it, and how I was going to initiate investigations by the Attorney General or the DOJ, and we were going to put them in jail for what they did on the bench. I was told at the time there's no possible way. But look where we are now, and you can go find those videos of me literally prophesying what we'd be doing. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but I see the path. There's certain things that I can do. I see pathways that are very clear in front of me, and I simply follow them. And so if I can get this done, again, it will be the first time in the history of the state of Texas. One, I'll be a rock star across the state. But if I can do that, I can run any kind of organization. It doesn't matter. Once I know the system, I can fix it or I can break it. It's that simple. Boots on the ground. But some of my other competitors have had years of boots on the ground too. And most of them have been in politics longer than me. So there isn't a real answer to that. It's more of, do you want this or do you want that? There's some, I think Dorinda's a great candidate. I think Cubby's a great candidate. There's some other people who are announced, I think, in the past day or two. But I know all these people. I do know that I will do what I say. And that's it. My yes is yes and my no is no.
Yeah. So if you are elected the chairman and you begin to roll out the vision that you've described and you start to face resistance from within the party, either from the SREC or from the grassroots or the establishment, how will you lead through that resistance to accomplish your vision?
All right. So you're probably not aware, but I'm supposed to be arrested in Houston at convention. The warrant's supposed to come out of Harris County. My government has been trying to put me in prison for years. I was arrested on a warrant, an illegal warrant, out of Tarrant County from a judge named Kenneth Newell. He'll be going to jail someday. And the Attorney General of the state of Texas filed into my case and said, "You don't have immunity. You can't do this." And I was arrested and I was bailed out of jail with the help of a Supreme Court justice. So my life is very, very, very strange. My government has tried to put me in prison multiple times in the past year. Um, I am known to the former Secretary of State, who is criminally investigating me for the signatures I collected to primary Blacklock and Busby. There are 6 counties currently who are entertaining prosecuting me for unauthorized practice of law because I've written habeas corpuses in numerous cases across the state, and almost every single one of them have worked. And you can do that as a private citizen. I'm not an attorney, and I don't take money for what I do. So if I can and this has been going on for years. So there is a very good chance when I show up at convention, they will simply issue a warrant to lock me up so that I cannot speak. They all know what I'm doing. They know why I'm here. And if I can deal with my government trying to put me in prison like that for years, I promise I can deal with any resistance. And like I said, I know the leaders of almost every faction because that's the first thing I did. Before I knew anybody, I went and met all the leaders. I've helped them adopt their children, keep CPS out of their lives. I've done all kinds of personal things for a lot of very powerful people who run these groups. They will not fight. They will talk to me. If they oppose it, we'll find. But, there's a faction or two that will fight, but they're irrelevant in 6 months after we get this thing up and running because, again, they will be bred out. So they'll just be chirping chihuahuas in the background that are being driven away in a car. It doesn't even require any direct addressing it.
Yeah. Well, Dr. McKenzie, thank you so much for coming on the Daniel Report to share your vision with us and the reasons why you're running. I'm going to put your website up on the screen, drbrooksfortexas.org. Anything you want to say about the website or any more follow-up information for folks?
Not really. I'm going to be there Monday through Saturday. And come talk to me because I want people to learn how convention works. Most people have no idea that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday even exist, which infuriates me because there's a reason that they don't know that. But come talk to me at convention. Even if you don't agree with me, come meet me, come talk to me because you can hate me, but it's really hard to hate what I say because everything I'm talking about is saving the family and children. Because if we restore the nuclear family, we don't have any of this in 2 generations. It's all gone. We don't have training stuff. We don't have kids having riots. We don't have problems in schools. We don't have kids on meds. If we do that one thing, God explodes in this nation because God doesn't come from our churches. It comes from our home. And when you remove the leader from the home, they don't find God. And so come talk to me. And if I can't convert you, then I haven't done my job. And you don't have to vote for me. But if you will follow God, it doesn't matter who you vote for. And that's it. That's my message. I'm not running because I want to be in office. I detest politics. I cannot tell you how my skin crawls, but I'm good at it. And so I'm going to do what God put in front of me until he lets me do something different. That's it.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing with us today. Also, the website for the convention, texasgop.org. You can still go out there and get tickets for the convention and also find hotel information out there. So if you haven't registered yet, if you don't have your hotel yet, please go and to the texasgop.org website. Also want to mention danielnation.com is our website, and we've got our podcast out there. The whole series is on our website. So if you want to go see all the candidates that we've interviewed so far, including this interview, you can find that on our website as well as our YouTube page and our Rumble page. And again, Dr. McKenzie, pleasure and honor to meet you, sir. I will meet you in person next week, and I wish you the very best.
And thank you, brother. You have a fantastic whatever today is.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.